we have seen a number of times already, and you've heard me say over and over function, and some of you are like, well, why does he keep saying, what is a function? Well, similar to the idea of wanting to repeat things, there are times when we have a collection of statements, like a paragraph in a novel, but we want to do that multiple times at different places. Not multiple times in a row, but like do it one time, and then a little bit later do it again, and maybe a minute later do it again. And that's when we want to group that information into what we call a function. Actually, technically, the computer science-y programming term for this would be a procedure. It's a collection of things that we want it to do. So greet student, like the one we were using just a moment ago with the looping, greet student takes a student's name, a student object in this case, and we know it's an object because of line 3. You see student.name. That implies that student is an object in memory that has a property or a key called name, and we're going to go access that. First, we're going to access student, and then we're going to access the name property on it. So we're going to just print out hello, comma, and then whatever that student's name is. By the way, you'll notice these little backtick operators here. That's the sort of cousin to the double quotes and the single quotes. This is a special kind of string in JavaScript that's called an interpolated string. And I know that's a big mouthful, interpolated string. All that really means is a string where we're going to put other kinds of variable values directly inside of it. And that's what you see on line 3, that special $sign with the curly brace thing wrapped around student.name. That says go find whatever that is and just put it right in place inside of this string, which is why when we actually do the console.log, it would print out hello Matt or hello Sarah. So that's a procedure. It uses the word function to denote it, and it has a name called greetStudent, and it has on line 1 there, it has student, that's called a parameter, that's the input to it, and it's just doing something, but you'll notice that it's not really giving us anything back. That's really why we call it a procedure, because it's not giving us anything back. It's doing something, which is important, but not giving us a value back. What's an example of something where it would give us a value back? Well, this is a little bit more truer to the spirit of a function, and functions is a special word that actually comes to us from math. And some of you may have heard of functional programming before. That's the idea of writing these things, not just that they do stuff, but that they compute values and they give them back to us. So here I have what's called a function called time remaining, and it takes 2 inputs now. It takes a time elapsed variable and an end time variable. Those have a special term. They're called parameters, the inputs to a function. And you'll notice that it returns us back, it computes an expression and returns us the value. So we say end time minus time elapsed, and then we say return whatever that value is. So if time elapsed comes in as 42, you see that on line 5, and if end time comes in at 240, then when we subtract those, subtract 42 from 240, what we have left, of course, is 198. That on line 5 we assign to the variable left, and then we see line 7 that value 198 is in there. So time remaining here is a function because it takes some inputs and it computes an output for us. It doesn't really go and do other stuff like print to the screen. It just says, let me do some work and give you a result back. Let me give you a computational result back. Let's try to run a function and mess around with the arguments and see how it changes. We know if we run it with the existing arguments, we get 198. But if I were to change this around a little bit, maybe say make that 140, then we're going to get a different result, 98. And what if I were to change this expression around a little bit? What if I were to make this expression divided by 2, and then all of a sudden, oops, we got a syntax error. That's important for you to be able to see the kinds of things that are happening in your program, and sometimes you make a mistake. I have an accidental parenthesis here, so I take that back out, we run it again, and now we get a different result.